Welcome back to the channel. Back at it again. It's OPEX, Mind of OPEX. Let's dive into it. We have something to talk about today that is something that I have not heard of at all in terms of on the internet. I've never heard this before ever. Y'all can say that I'm a conspiracy theorist all you want because I don't just blatantly just repeat information I heard online. So, what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about technology. Let's start from I don't want to call it the beginning, but the beginning of what I want to talk about today. The beginning could be thousands and thousands and million years ago for all we know, right? Like, we could be interplanetary or whatever, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I just want to talk about, let's start, let's say, around the days of when they invented Morse code. Weird, right? Yeah, we're going to start there. Minute into this, let's actually dive into it. So, Morse code. They invented Morse code, and it was able to be transmitted, basically information transmitted long distances. So, once upon a time, we didn't have any way to communicate long distances. Then all of a sudden we came up with what's known as Morse code. Morse code, if you don't already know, is just essentially information that's transmitted. It's like doot 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 doot, and then you would have a code that's information that's relayed. How did they get, and this is important here, how did they get intercontinental information back in the 1800s? So, I'm going to tell you straight up, and this is something that I actually learned semi-recently. I learned that it's all through cable. Cables, here's the clicker, through the ocean. But you never even thought about that. How were they able to relay information overseas? They had a cable overseas. I know that sounds crazy. Look it up. And this is a long time ago. This is not something new. They created this cable to go overseas and essentially transmit information seemingly instantaneously. Not instantaneously, but seemingly. It seemed like the speed of light. You were able to get information relatively quickly through cables. How long is that cable? Thousands of miles long. Wow! So, you can look up a modern day map right now of cables. You can look up telephone cables, internet cables, whatever. It's the same cable. And somehow, they thought to themselves, we want to transmit information, and a lot of people theorize that this was essentially a secret information. This is secret. That's why it's code. All code is secret information. So they were able to transmit overseas using cables information. Now, if that doesn't sound crazy to you back when, this is not something new. Think of the hardships of having to lay cable on the ocean floor nowadays. Now think of back then. They had to transmit information through cables. And a lot of people theorize this was essentially like the shadow government or the military, the global military. If you're not familiar, everyone thinks that it's China-verse. There's an important reason why I made that video discussing that the presidents have no power, the governments that be are not in it together. I mean, against each other. They're actually in it together. There's something that flew in my eye, and that's gonna be, it's an eyelash. Fuck. Anyway, so the global powers that be created a Morse code. They went through the great lengths of making this cable go from Australia to everywhere, essentially. I don't know if it's in Antarctica. You can look up the cables online, but pretty much every continent, right? And there's huge oceans that are in between. So this is a great feat just to create Morse code that's information transmitted through cables from continent to continent all across the world. Let's jump forward a little bit. Telephones. When I was a kid, I thought it was crazy that I can say something into a phone, it goes through a cable, and I can talk to someone in Italy almost instantaneously. I was like, how the fuck does that work as a kid? To this day, I probably don't even know how it works. Let's be honest here. It's still mind-blowing that I can talk to someone across the world almost instantaneously, and I had no idea how it worked. It was like, is there a cable that goes all the way from this phone line all the way to wherever I'm talking to someone? So I was adopted into an Italian family. My grandma's straight off the boat, so there's a lot of family in Italy. So we would talk, she would at least talk to them weekly, daily, back in Italy. So I always thought it was weird. How are you talking to someone in Italy? How is that going through a cable? Like, my brain didn't, and this was pre-internet, so I was like, how the fuck did that work? All right. To this day, I hate doing this where I'm trying to explain to you how shocked I am. But I was fucking shocked as a kid. I'm still shocked to this day how that works. Telephone. What is it? Transfer of information. Just like that Morse code. Ran through the same fucking cables. Down on the ocean floor, there are cables that essentially are able to relay information. That same information went from Morse code to the telephone. And whether you understand how it works or not, that's the gist of it, right? It goes through cables, essentially the speed of light, and able to transfer data. And that data is voice. Which is crazy to me still. And I don't want to dive into the shock value. Again, I haven't heard anyone talk about this online. This is just how I'm understanding it. If I'm getting anything wrong, let me know. Alright, so a lot of people think that the telephone, essentially instantaneous voice messaging is the telephone, and it was able to be crossed oceans in order to relay that information. A lot of people say, again, shadow information, shadow governments, military that created this. Of course, there is a name, there is a patent, there are things of that nature, but essentially the technology itself. So Morse code was essentially shadow governments to the military and eventually to the public. Telephones, same thing. It started off shadow governments to the military for military purposes to the public. It wasn't instantaneously to the public, but they created it for consumer purposes for the modern person. Now let's dive forward a little bit more. Internet. The internet is run on the same fucking cables from Morse code. So it went from Morse code to the telephone to the internet. The internet, if you remember in the 90s and early 2000s, we had dial-up. We all know it came from the telephone cables. We all know that. But the thing is, how the fuck were we able to communicate with people in other countries? Let's say France to America to Africa to wherever, right? Well, it's using those same cables. Now, they have upgraded these cables. They don't talk about this. They don't tell the people how this works. A lot of people do know how this works, but they don't, it's not public knowledge. The average person knows how to use the internet, but they don't know how the fuck the internet got to them. So they use the same cables. They upgraded it with the internet to fiber optic. Is it optic? Is that the right word? Fiber cables. Whatever. It's probably fiber optic. I'm not big on the technology. I don't understand it completely. This is how I understand it, though. Those same cables that they used, that they had, again, a lot of people theorize, why would they, first off, no, we'll get to that, actually. So, they have these cables, and originally, again, weirdly enough, a lot of people say that this was shadow information, shadow technology. A lot of people believe that the military created this technology for military purposes. Of course, again, has a patent, has an inventor, but it wasn't released to the public till later. So this is how I understand it. It went from the military to the CIA to the public. I believe that the government had a reason for releasing this to the public. So, again, we'll get into the reasoning, but just look at, a lot of people call Facebook FBI book, right? Why do they call it that? It's because the FBI went from profiling each and every one of us, updated pictures to how you think, how you look at reality, how to control you as the CIA. A lot of people also call it CIA book. I just call it FBI book. But it essentially went from, you had, sorry, I'm going through a work zone here. You had the FBI profiling you to you profile yourself. That's the greatest fucking ploy, fucking con ever. And people have Facebook to this day. They know what it is, and they still have it, such as myself. FBI gathers information on you as an individual. That's essentially what their whole job is. The CIA is designed to control you. FBI is to gather information about you. Anyways. But it's important to realize and recognize that the internet itself followed the same routine, shadow government, military, to the public. And it did it with the internet. It wasn't until the 90s where it started to be commonplace in the public. They use this information just like Morse code, just like the telephone. We all know that the CIA taps telephones, right? They were collecting data on everyone with this technology. Then, okay, what the fuck is this guy doing? Okay. But then, they came out with the internet. And they started, and everyone knows this, they track your phones, they track where you were online. There's a huge database with all your information that you ever looked up, ever. They have telephone calls from you from the 90s that they can pull up. They have information that's seized, controlled, and they have in their possession. So, the internet is a major staple of today's information transfer. There was Google. Google became the average person's gospel. Oh, how far away is the Earth from the sun? Google it. And it became information that has... Okay, I can't get back on the fucking road. Hold on. Okay. That was weird. Google became the new gospel. Everyone believes what Google says. Google is essentially information that you can get really quick. Not just like in the past, we were able to transfer information between two people. Now it's information that's transferred from the world to a person. And if you control that information, it controls what people think. Maybe I'm going a little too far for you guys. The internet was given to the public on purpose. They saw what it was. They let people have the internet and they manipulated and controlled the internet. If you were to look up right now information online, at least 90% of people will believe it as truth. They look up, why is milk good for you? And boom, internet search, a bias search, exactly what you wanted to hear and see. Why is milk bad for you? That information will pop up as well. Information is just information, but people are starting to believe it to be 100% true, and especially with the day and age we are in now, which is the next step, which has fact checkers, and these fact checkers tell you what's real and not real. So you already know that YouTube and Twitter and all these fucking sites are controlling the flow of information. On Facebook, you see a post and it'll be a fact checker says this is wrong, see why, or this is harmful to see why. And they are controlling information. A meme online is only information, but they are controlling this. And information is freedom of speech 101. They are manipulating what you believe. This is important to know. The CIA, the government, the ones who created all this information or all this technology, from the Morse code to now, they want to control what you think and what you believe. They have you believing that it's East versus West, China versus America. But that's a lie. There is lines, cables from China to America. They're all in it together. And they have convinced you otherwise. That's why they don't want you even to know about this transfer of information from country to country. They don't want to tell you that it was all designed. It was all controlled. Government itself, govern, control, meant your mental, control your mind. Government's designed to control your mind. That's why they put words on a piece of paper and you believe it. Because you believe the words and you believe in consequences of those words. Therefore, you are controlled. You are a sheep. You are controlled. They do this in the media. They do this online. Obviously, they're controlling that information online. So, without getting too far ahead, why would they put those cables across the ocean for the Morse code, controlled by the government, the shadow government? I'll just keep calling it that because that's what you guys believe it is. Why would the shadow government, the world shadow government, that I would tell you has been around for thousands of years controlling this, and I've made this point over and over, why is there two countries on a map agreed on borders if they are against each other? Why would they agree on that spot of the map as their border? It's because they're all in it together. How many if you look at on a map of who Britain conquered, there would be like 2 countries that's not staple information online. 2 countries that are not taken over, controlled by Great Britain. They're all conquered, they put in their puppet, but the point is they want to convince you of this matrix, that we're all against each other, divide and conquer. They want to control information. They don't want you thinking for yourselves, starting your own communities, being self-sustainable. They don't want you doing all that. They want you relying on them. That's why supermarkets exist. And the American dream exists. So why would they put cables and then release this to the public? Why would they go out of their way for some crazy feats for you to communicate with telephones and with the internet? Why would they go out of their way, spend tons of resources? And why would they do that? Well, it all leads to this. All the information that they have gathered, all of it, all of their tracking, all of everything, all leads to this. I don't think y'all are ready for this one. AI. It all leads to AI. Let's talk about AI. AI uses the internet. Essentially, all them cables that were put into place a long time ago and have been updated for the internet have all led us to AI. AI,
course of the road for 10 miles.
A lot of people think that powers that be started it, that they were startup billionaires that started this. Of course, billionaires are trying to purchase this. Why do they want AI open source? Just like Morse code, the telephone, the internet. Why do they want this in public hands? If you were to invent something, come on, this is a huge point here. If you were to invent something, patent it, have full rights of it, why wouldn't you monetize it and sell it? You have full rights of something. Why would you just make it open source and have everyone able to get it for free? Why? Ooh. I'm gonna leave you a few seconds here to think about it. Why would they make it open source if they can monetize it and make tons of money? Have a monopoly of ownership over AI. Why would they have open source? After everything I just told you, think about it. All right. We know it's open source. Everyone has their hands on it. You don't have to pay money for it. They want this in the public. They want everyone to get used to it. Just like they got used to Morse code, telephone, internet. Now everything is all led to this, AI. Again, never heard anyone talk about this online. Never heard anyone talk about this. I might not be the first, but I've never heard it. Why do they want AI in your hands? They want you to get used to it. They want you to understand that this is going to develop and take over your job. You are going to surrender to this. You are going to have universal basic income. You know how long they've been talking about creating socialism, and it's been a while since the invention of Morse code. They have been trying, in fact, I would argue, for thousands of years to perfect this. They've already made you a slave. They took away the shackles and chains. They don't need them anymore. You strive for money. Enough money All right. Oh. I thought we were going to be stuck. You strive for money. You are modern day slavery, and you can watch those videos that I've made on modern slavery. All my modern day slavery videos all lead to this. I've even talked about AI and how it led to this. I talked about that I was okay with all of this. But the more I'm thinking about it, the less I'm okay with it. I believe just like a firearm is a tool, it could be used for good or evil. A pencil is a tool. It could be used for good or evil. I don't think you should ban a pencil. I don't think you should ban guns. The same would apply for AI. I don't think AI is good or bad. I think AI music is good. I like AI music more than modern music. I think there's a lot of good uses for AI from your daily life, just like Google. I don't think Google is good or bad. What AI does is it scours the internet. It creates a lot of information into a set thing, and it creates that set thing, whether it's music or art or poetry or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. The point is it uses information and it can be learned. Information can be learned with AI. And it's a useful tool. Again, you can use this for good or bad. Why would they put this out into the public? It's to get you used to all the great things that AI can create. AI can create a lot of good things. Again. So, why would the powers that be want you getting used to AI? Because you're going to be out of a job soon. AI navigation is going to point you the right direction. They're going to get rid of vehicles. You can watch my video, Future of Transportation, which for some reason everyone disbelieves my idea here, even though they're actively doing it and you just don't know it yet because you're slow. Or information is not being directed to you right away, so you don't think about it. But the future of transportation is not autonomous vehicles. It's autonomous vessels on tracks. Powered by powered by nuclear power, which they are creating right now. Very, very, very micro nuclear powers that can fit in trucks and being delivered. That's the future of power. It's not solar, so I don't suggest you invest in solar or wind. That technology doesn't even pay for itself in 15 years. By that time, you got to have a whole new system because it only operates at 30%. So fuck solar. It's a waste of money, and it's a scam. Especially that they're planning on blocking out the sun. That's a video for another time. But nuclear power is going to be the new power. Everything's going to be run on nuclear. They're not going to need lines anymore the way that power lines and the electrical grid is run. And they can create more and more towers, and these towers can be essentially brought to us internet. If you don't know, internet doesn't come from the sky. When you have a cell phone, and I should have said this earlier when I was talking about internet, but your cell phone receives information from the towers, but those towers are being brought through cables to those towers from across the world. The internet is still the internet. It's still brought to you the same way. It's just through towers. And we can talk about radio if we want, but that has less to do with this. So, they have a world that's set up, already thought of, already planned and designed to put in their investment, which has been a long investment with cables that are crazy feats that you don't even know that they had to do. The reason they did all of this was to bring it to this day. All of this investment led to now, led to AI. It's almost like they already knew this was going to come a long time ago, because it is all led from Morse code to AI. It has all led to this time period. This is the last time period humans can be semi-free, free-range slaves. They don't need you anymore. And I am definitely waiting till 30 minutes into this video before the algorithm destroys this video and takes it down. They already took down my depopulation videos. You can find it still on odyssey.com/mindofopex. They don't need you anymore. They don't need you spinning the hamster wheel of the matrix. The powers that be call you useless eaters. If you are on welfare, you are of no use to the government. If you are retired, you are of no use to the government. You are a useless eater, not bringing value into the world. Children, same thing. That's why politicians don't like you breeding more. That's just a modern day politician. Why would they want this at the level of the powers that be? Is because they want to reduce the population to control you more. CIA, the powers that be, all want the world to be at lesser population. If you ever look up Agenda 21 and wildlife management, they want to create forests in the wild. They want the world to be wild, and they want to put you in these little zones of densely populated areas where you're not out polluting the environment, and they don't want to control nature's population. They want it to control itself. And the way that they can do that is to control you, depopulate the world, and they've been doing this since the 90s. That's why they started to bring out internet into the world. Again, never heard this. This is all right here, putting two and two together. So, I can go down a lot of rabbit holes, and this could be a 10-hour video. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. They are creating AI so and open source it to you, so you get used to it. You accept it. Now, if you had to pay $30 a month for it, or $50 a month for AI, you probably wouldn't do it. The average person wouldn't do it, because why would they do it? The average person doesn't need to. And again, it can be used for good or bad, but they want to show you all these good things that can be brought of it. You can ask AI how to create nuclear bombs, and it should tell you, unless it's controlled, which a lot of it is already being controlled through Microsoft, etc. Even Elon Musk wants to buy some, Bezos. They all, Bill Gates, Microsoft already has their own AI that they're working on. Then they're teaching them. You can find jobs right now teaching AI how to code. It's for some fucked up reason, it keeps coming up on my feed. Teach AI how to code. Make however much money, pretty good money, to teach AI how to code. Once you teach AI how to code, it can code. It can create way cooler, crazy things instantaneously, and it can revolutionize the world. It can create super quantum computers instantaneously. It's going to be a crazy world. And we can talk about AI all day, but it is all led to this. The world is not going to be the same. The world how you know it is not going to be the same. Now they officially don't need you anymore. They don't need you. They can create AI that can create other machines and factories. Oh shit. They can create AI to create the factories to create the vessels or whatever transportation thing. They can literally have a network of AI that can be the new industry, the new control all industry. And of course you can control that, but you can create industry without people anymore. You don't need people to work at restaurants if AI is flipping the burgers, making sure inventory is coming in on time. Trucks are coming in, being unloaded by robots. You're not going to, and trucks being, as in not how you know it today, watch my video, The Future of Transportation, because a lot of people think that was bullshit. A lot of people, especially truckers, don't believe this. But you got to understand, they are making everything possible right now to make sure you aren't needed. They tried this with autonomous vehicles, but they don't need tires hitting we don't need this mechanical thing going on anymore. We have all the means to run the world now without you in it, thanks to AI. Everything that you think is impossible 5 years ago is now possible. And it all led to this. And why did they lead to this? Because this was the goal the whole time. Do you think socialism was an accident? Do you think internment camps and the Nazis and world wars, do you think this was all an accident? Or did they design this? Why do they fund both sides of the war? Why are they funding open AI? They want it to be so good, so fast that they can get rid of you. And they don't need you anymore. They can protect the world. Why do you think the UN wants to protect the world? They actually, to some level, have a big heart. They want to make this world self-sustainable. But they use the climate crisis, even though they control the weather, they control your mind, they control industry, making sure everything comes to you in plastic. You don't get fucking glass drinks anymore. You don't get water in glass bottles. You don't get milk in glass bottles. You get it in plastic. So who are they to tell you? And they made this industry the way it is on purpose. It's all designed and set up to get rid of you. If you realize that they are making your life meaningless day by day, they don't need you anymore. I think that's ultimately where I'm going to leave this video before it gets out of hand. Because I can make this get out of hand real quick. I can go down a couple rabbit holes. This could take hours. But I think the information I gave you is enough to compound, in which that you can digest it and understand where I'm getting at. We will make depopulation videos again in the future. I want you to look up and then think in the same ideas that I am. Why would they create this all open source to the public? It all led to now. They want you out of here is the ultimate goal. Why would they want AI open source? If they have a patent and they can make money on it. It's not about money. So they're not a business. One, they are not a business. They are not in it for profits. You guys think that, they got the jab in 2021, was it, when they released it to the public? Why would they have that jab? Well, it was a money grab. They made billions of dollars off of it. Nope. Wrong. They don't give a fuck about money. They already have all the money in the world. They have so much money that their kids couldn't even spend it that quick to get rid of it, right? And they got so much money coming in. It's not about money. It's not about money. It's about getting rid of the useless eaters. I should read this, The Great Reset. I want to know what some of their plans are, right? Exactly what their plans are. The next lockstep is going to be the last lockstep. They got AI going. They got the world controlled. They can shut down the world's economy overnight. They can quarantine the world in their specific areas overnight. They can lock down airports where you can't leave. They can lock down roads. They already have the power to do this. And everyone is on board now. because they found out in 2020 who's on board and who's not. There was a lot of African leaders, I'll call them, that didn't put up with it. They would test fruit that all of a sudden was coronavirus positive. Come on, guys. They all died. There's no more people that are going to go against this that are in power. The next one's the end game. If that's not huge for you guys, and if you think this is all just talk, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Why would they make this all open source? It's not about money. This is the final frontier. They got to get you guys all used to it and all brainwashed that it's all okay. It's all going to be okay because it's all just a useful tool. And again, I am not against AI. I like AI. I would use AI. I'm not against it, just like a firearm. My firearm's collecting dust. But I'm super glad I have it. AI, it's a good, useful tool. Glad I have it. If I need it, or if I want to use it, I can use it. But it is going to be the precursor, the final thing that was needed to get rid of all of you guys. And me included, even though I didn't take the haha. And I won't take the haha if it comes again. But it's probably not going to be in the same idea of let's lock down the world because of a virus. They already did that. They already know who's going to go with it or who's going to be against it. So now they're working on making AI so useful that they completely don't need you anymore. And then boom, just a matter of time then. And we can already say that with the new Chat GPT 4.0, whatever the fuck it is, I would argue it's already there. I would argue it's already there. Maybe it does need another generation to get better. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we're ready now. But there's a reason why Agenda 21 is a thing. There's a reason why AI is being funded and trying to bring forth stronger and stronger right now. There's a race for AI or whatever, right? There's a reason. And it all leads to the Great Reset. The Great Reset. And them putting carbon down to zero. Put all these together, guys. AI, they don't need you. Carbon down to zero. They get rid of you all because you are all carbon. And then when they get rid of you, they reset everything. It's going to be a new age. Alright. That's enough for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you saw this coming the way it did. If you got anything out of my video, just comment below and definitely like this video. Before they take it down, get this to more eyes. That's the only reason I'm on YouTube and not just Odyssey, is because we can still enlighten some people somehow. And there isn't much time left. I got to get out of the truck by the end of the year. I got to get my homestead going by the end of the year. Because next year is my idea of when shit could go sour. In fact, it could start at the very end of this year. I said next year, but AI's looking more advanced than ever. And they're not needing us, so it could even happen tomorrow. I don't think that we have much time, guys. Anyway, this isn't a fear-mongering video. This is a enlightenment into a help yourself scenario. Get off the grid. Be self-sustainable. Don't rely on supermarkets for your fucking poison, which is not food, it's poison. Don't rely on them for food. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. Have knowledge and wisdom and control your future, your destiny. and don't be part of the mass depopulation. That's it for now. Stay tuned for plenty more content, plenty more coming in the next coming months before I'm done for good on this YouTube journey with you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Till next time. See you guys.